So I'm going to go back now and let's couple this again. So I'm going to go back to loft. I'm going to select there. I want to make this my closing point. And then I'm going to select here, and the closing point is fine. So notice the closing points are fine. Closing directions are good. Those are you always need to look at those two. Now let's see what coupling mode looks like. Ratio, this preview, that should work fine, but it's a poor coupling mode. When I say work fine, I mean work. It doesn't give good results because notice still more, look right here. See that? See what's happening there? And then some not quite looking quite as poor here, but it's still poor there and poor there. Okay. So again, ratio poor. Let's look at tangency next. Preview. Okay. That's not looking too bad. Okay. And the reason why that's not looking too bad is because these are still vertice points. Vertice points all the way around. Vertice points all the way around. That is acceptable. That is a tangency that's acceptable. Let's look at tangency and curvature to see if it will work. If it works, use it, and that is acceptable. Any tangency and curvature is always acceptable. Tangency is only acceptable sometimes. Ratio is never acceptable. When you start getting these coupling lines like this, that's not acceptable. Notice with tangency, I'm not getting those coupling lines. And then extra coupling lines, I should say. And then tangency and curvature, I'm not getting those extra ones. So that is fine. Okay. Now, back to my model. Let me show you this. I'm going to go back into the sketch, and now I'm going to intentionally make these instead of this G0 here. And I've got to get rid of a dimension there. All right, I'm going to make this tangent. Watch this. This is going to be interesting. Then this should be tangent 2 at the bottom here, but explicitly tangent here and just implied tangent there. So, but that's still tangent. Now let's try it. Let's see if this throws any curveballs at me. So I'm going to come in here, select there. What's the first thing I always look at? Coupling or closing points. I'm going to change it to here, and then my closing directions going that way. Then I'm going to pick this section. Closing point is here. Direction's good. Let's go back to ratio. It will work, but again, poor. Poor. Again, I can't reiterate that enough. Frowny face. Still poor. Notice the extra coupling lines thrown in here. Now, let's look at tangency. Now, put your seatbelt on here, but let's look at tangency. And I'm going to predict, and I haven't practiced this in advance, but this may go away here. These two, it will come to 1, and these will stay as they are. So let's look at it. Tangency, preview. What's going wrong? That shouldn't be. That's interesting. Why is that not working? So that's not working at, that's really weird. That shouldn't be doing that. Okay, so it's not working at all. Look at, I was expecting to get a result, but that's not working at all. You can see kind of the made up tangencies going on. I mean, the couplings. And then this, I know is not going to work. Okay. That's really weird. I wasn't expecting that. I'm going to actually get out of that. Let's go back into my section. So I've got a nice section here, and I've got a nice section here. You would expect those to couple together well. So let me try this again. I want to use I want to use this closing point this time. And then when I pick this section, I'm going to use that closing point. And let's do a preview. Now that's what I was expecting. So that was the message. That was weird. I've never seen that happen before on that last demo. But so notice I'm using tangency and curvature. It's not working. CATIA will not let me do that. Let's go back to tangency and let's see what it will do. It won't let me do it here either. So it wouldn't even let me do it. It's trying to show me the coupling lines. Remember I said over here, I bet it straightens out on the left side. It is, but it's not straightening out over here. And then here, ratio, if I do a preview, the ratio will work. But again, look at the pore surface. So again, I hope you get the point. Don't use ratio. So you may be going, okay, I can't use ratio. So I've got to use tangency, which is not working, or I've got to use tangency then curvature, which is not working. So how do I get this to work? Well, then that's where we go back from manual coupling to explicit. Even my spine is not looking good there. Okay, so let me, and all I did, think about all I did was take this and made it tangent here, right? Before, when I had this not tangent, and I had the sharp corners, it worked. Just because I threw those tangencies in there, now it's not working, which is expected. So, and that is why those coupling modes are called, so remember the 4 coupling modes: ratio, tangency, tangency then curvature, and then vertices. And forget vertices, but tangency and then tangency then curvature is the reason why these are, it does not like these tangencies. It does not like these tangencies. This tangency here and here does not like it. And so listen, this is extremely important for understanding this command, this tool. It does not like the tangencies. It does not like those tangencies. So when it says tangency coupling mode, it's looking for scenarios where it doesn't have tangencies. And when it finds a scenario where it has a tangency, it's going to yell at you and going to go, it's not going to work. I'm not going to let it work. You got to come up with something different. And what do I mean by come up with something different? So let me just go back to my preview here and notice what it says here. It says, current coupling mode cannot be applied. Change the coupling mode to ratio. But you know, that is not allowed in this class. So don't do that first option. Or add or remove guides. That's okay. Or add or remove coupling. So what I'm going to show you is this. So notice the 3 options. You can change it to ratio. You can add guides, or you can add couplings. So ratio is not allowed. So adding guides is an option, or adding couplings, adding couples would be an option. So really 2 options. And if you go back to my original screen here, and you look, notice coupling, the join, I give you 2 options, manual or guides. That's the same as what that dialog box just showed you. You can do manual coupling or you can do guides. When I had nothing but those sharp corners in each sketch, implicit worked. But now I've got a tangency. So now, because I have a tangency, I've got to go back in here and I've got to do explicit. So let me show you how to do that. So this is where it gets a little more challenging. So let me hide my board here. This is why I like lecturing out of my office, by the way. I can jump back and forth instead of having to do the visualizer. And then invariably, I've got to ask Chris, what am I doing wrong, right? So I don't need Chris to help me when I'm working in my office. So let me show you how to do manual coupling. Okay, so there is a video out. I just created it that's going to talk about this. So let's go back here. So manual coupling is going to require me to manually couple these 2 sections together. And I'm lucky because I have 4 vertices here and I have 4 vertices here. So this should work fine, but let's see. So again, same procedure, select there, look at my closing point, select here, identify the closing point. Now, here's the extra. I'm going to go to coupling tab, And here's the manual coupling part, is right below here. I have two sections. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to manually pair sections. So I'm going to, and you always go with the first section and then the next section and the next section. So here I'm going to go there to there. So there's my manual coupling. Now I'll go to my next 2 points there, and you can see the coupling box come up. And I'm going from the first section to the second section. And notice it's labeling, there's my point for the first section, and there's my point for the second section. And then there to there. This should, the keyword is should, work. Let's do a preview, and there it is. It worked. Remember before it didn't work? But when I did the manual pairing, it's working now. What does it do? When you do tangencies and curvature, it wasn't any issue on this side. The issue was the tangency points. So what CATIA is going to look for is non-tangencies first, and then it's going to go over tangency. So that's where, and this is misleading. This should really be called, in my brain, not tangent, then tangent, as opposed to tangency then curvature. Curvature is the next level of continuity. Continuity is point, tangency, then curvature. So that's the 3 levels of continuity: point, tangent, curvature. So this should say not tangent, then look at tangent. Okay. So, but that's just, don't worry about that. That's just a side notice. But it's working because I did the manual coupling. And this was easy because this manual coupling had 4 vertices in each one. Questions about that? Somebody's got to have a question about this. I'm going to stop my video there.